good morning, depending on where you're at. It's 10:16 here. Okay, so we're just gonna jump into it. I'm gonna make a in the pot swirl today with some watermelon colors. But the cool thing is, and some of you guys might already be familiar with this product, but I wanted to introduce those that are not familiar to a really cool bio glitter from the Good Glitter. So I love glitter. I mean, that's like I don't like play with it as much these days because I have toddlers and they'd want it, but yeah, this is a bio glitter from thegoodglitter.com. And let me show you guys what this looks like. They are just really cute. Oh my gosh. So this one is watermelon sugar, stars and stripes, and summer lemonade. I love this one. I'm thinking I know it's called summer lemonade, but it's like gold and kind of rose gold, kind of rose goldy pink. So I thought that would look awesome on like a champagne inspired soap. But anyways, I'm going to use this today on my soap. I haven't tried it before. It's my first time trying it, but I know lots of people use it. Katie at Royalty Soaps uses it. So I'm super excited to give it a try. And I've got a link and a discount code for you guys that I will share with you after the live is over. But I wanted to share that with you. If you're looking for a an alternative to plastic glitters that you can use on your Bath and Body products, this is definitely the way to go. And their blends are just amazing. They have solid colors, but then they also have these blends that are really cool. So thegoodglitter.com. And like I said, I have a link for you guys and a discount coupon, and I will share that after the live is over. Okay, so we're gonna make a in the pot swirl today. Let me get my gloves on. And I'll share the recipe with you, but it's just kind of my standard swirling recipe. Yeah, so I'll type it out for you so you can have it. If you are new to making soap, and we have a lot of new people in the group, welcome to everyone. We have a really extensive free guide at lovinsoap.com/make soap, and that's LOVIN soap.com/make soap. And you can download it, and it's just a really detailed guide to get you started in soap making. Yeah, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. I don't think so. I think we're just going to jump into it. So I've already got all of my oils done. I'm a little boring with my scents. I just use essential oils, so I'm just doing a Litzia for the scent, so it's nice and kind of lemony, bright smelling. But I was hoping that you guys could share your favorite watermelon fragrance oils so that people who are interested in a watermelon fragrance oil can go check those out. So if you have a watermelon scent that you like, just drop it in the comments. And then that way, if anyone's looking for a watermelon scent, they will know where to go. So since we're swirling, I like to have my temperatures below 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So in the 80s and 90s is kind of perfect. And I cannot find my, my temperature. Oh, here it is. Oh, thank goodness. So let me see where we're at. Okay, so we're at 105. So that's a little warmer than I normally like. Let me see what our live water's at. 111. So I'm actually a little warmer. I jumped on a little bit sooner than I should have, but that's okay. So I'm just going to stir these and let them cool off a little bit. So how's everyone doing? Hello, good morning. Okay, so let's talk about like some swirling tips. For some of you that are new to soap making, there are things you can do when you make your soap that'll slow it down so that you have time to divide your soap out to color it. So first of all, temperature, and I kind of talked about that. When I'm swirling soap, I like to have my temperatures, you know, like between 80 and then up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So I really like it to be like at 90. And having those cooler temperatures helps to slow down the tracing of your soap so that after you get to emulsification, which I'll show you, you divide your soap out. And if your temperatures are cooler, your soap's gonna stay nice and fluid. if your temperatures, you know, were 110, 120 degrees Fahrenheit, you're going to have issues with your soap moving too quickly. So I definitely want to cool these down a little bit because we're over that 100 degrees Fahrenheit range, and so it will move quickly. Other things, make sure that your fragrance or essential oils are not fast moving. So there's lots of fragrances and essential oils that will accelerate your soap. And typically when it comes to essential oils, it can be completely random with essential oils. Like you can have one lemongrass that accelerates your soap and another lemongrass that doesn't. But basically it's your spices. So if you use any clove, cinnamon, nutmeg, things like that, those are things that are gonna make your soap thicken really quickly. And obviously those essential oils should be used in tiny, tiny, tiny amounts to begin with. When it comes to fragrance oils, it's typically your spices and your florals that will accelerate soap. Although again, random ones will do it as well. So just check with the supplier and make sure that they tell you how it's going to perform in soap. Okay? So those are two things you can kind of keep in mind when it comes, you know, to swirling your soap. You want to keep your temperatures cool, and you want to make sure that your fragrance or essential oil isn't going to accelerate your batch. Hey everyone, good morning. Okay, we're still a little on the warm side. I think I'm going to go ahead and go for it just because I don't want you to have to sit around while we wait, you know, while I wait for him to cool off. So we're just going to go ahead and do it. Worst case, we do a spoon swirl or a plop swirl. So there's always like a backup you can do. I'm going for an in the pot swirl. But worst case, I just grab some spoons and we'll do a plop swirl. So let me show you some things I'm using today. Of course, I'm using the bio glitter from thegoodglitter.com, which I showed you. I'm going to use the watermelon one because I'm kind of doing a watermelon theme today. And then I'm going to be using some colorants from Nurture. I've got Winter White. That's going to be my base color. I have Trial by Fire, which is my favorite red for soap. It gives you like a bright Christmas red. I'm going to do some soap that, and then some soap that plus the Winter White to create kind of like a pink. And then I've got two greens, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use both of them or just one of them, but I wanted some like variations of greens in the soap. Okay, so those are the colorants we're going to use. And those are from Nurture Soap. I'll put the links for you guys. All right, so it's 101, so we're getting there. And I already have my essential oil in my oils. So I like to add my scent, whether it's fragrance or essential oil, to my oils first when I'm making my soap. You can do it either way. Some people trace their soap and then add their scent. Some people add it to their oils. I like adding it to my oils for two reasons. Number one, I'm not going to forget it. It's so easy sometimes when you're going and you're making your soap and you get it to trace, you divide it out, color, and then like you totally forget to add your scent. So by doing it first as like a prep thing, it's already in there, it's ready to go. And then sometimes if you have like troublesome fragrances or essential oils, if you do it this way, it dilutes it so that it doesn't cause as many issues with your soap. So it's just a preference thing, because I know we had a post in the group not too long ago. Someone was asking, hey, I see some people add it to their oils. I see some people add it to their emulsified soap. And there's not really a right or wrong, so you can do it either way. All right. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. My mold is my favorite one, Tall and Skinny from Nurture Soap. It's just a great, I love the Tall and Skinny bars in that. They just look really good. All right, so we're going to get started. You might hear my camera clicking too because I'm taking pictures for the blog as I do this. And because we want to swirl, and I am a little worried because it was kind of warm, but we'll see what happens. Because we want to swirl, I'm going to mix it just until it's emulsified. And not, you know, trace, because if we get to trace where you visually see trace on the soap, that's a little too far. It doesn't give you a lot of time to color. So we're going to mix it just until emulsified. And I've got my stick blender here. So gloves and goggles on. And I can tell this is already going to be, so I like barely stick blended it, and then I'm just going to mix it by hand, and because it was warm, it's just coming together nice and quickly. So when it comes to emulsified soap, you want it to all be one color. You don't want to see oil floating on top, but you don't want to see trace. So this actually probably needs a little more stick blending because it's still not quite the opaqueness that I'm looking for. But if you're worried about overshooting emulsification and getting to trace, stirring by hand is kind of the perfect solution there. But I am going to hit it a little more. And this recipe is nice and fluid because it has so much olive oil in it. So it's just a really nice and fluid recipe. All right, that's looking pretty good. Let me grab my tray here so I don't make a mess. Okay, I'm actually gonna hit that a little more. I'm being super cautious just because of my temperatures were a little higher, but you can still kind of see some oil streaks and it's really clear on top. So that's telling me there's a little, you know, it needs to be emulsified a little more. Okay, that's all I'm gonna do. All right. Okay, so that looks good, and you can see that there's no trace. It's just emulsified, it's all opaque, and it's looking pretty good. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna pour some in some cups to color. And I feel like this is probably gonna get thick pretty quickly just because of my temperature, so I'm gonna move kind of quick. And as far as how much you divide out to swirl, it's completely up to you. There's no right or wrong. If you want a lot of uncolored soap or whatever your base color is going to be, then, you know, just pour a little bit into your cups. But it doesn't really matter. There's no right or wrong. Okay. So I'm using Trial by Fire for like a red. Okay, and I'm doing, that was probably 3/4 of a teaspoon. And when it comes to working with mica, what you see is what you get. So, of course, there's guides out there that say, you know, start with this amount and go from there. But basically, again, what you see is what you get. So add your color until you're happy with it. All right, so I've got the Trial by Fire in 2 because I'm going to add white to 1. To give us a different, a little bit of a different color. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same with green. Oh my gosh, my teaspoon doesn't fit in there. That's funny. All right, so I'm just gonna dump it in there. You can kind of eyeball it. Okay. And then I want white in my base, so I'll add a little white to that. All right, so let me mix all these up. So So now our soap's kind of at like a light trace. So, which is perfect for swirling. Okay, that looks good. So at this point, after you've mixed your colorants, if you think, you know, I want to add some more color to that, go ahead and add some more color to it. There's not like a hard set rule. And the only reason I'm stressing that is I see people say like, oh, I added a teaspoon of color and it didn't look really well. And it's like, well, you probably need to add a little more color, and you certainly can. So that's that Trial by Fire. It's just the most beautiful red color. It looks so good. Okay, so I'm going to lighten this one up a little bit more. And then we're going to do it in the pot swirl. Okay, I think that looks good. All right. Okay, I'm just going to blend my base. I put some white in there and then I pushed it down with a stick blender. Okay. All right, so we've got everything blended. Let me take a picture of this real quick. Perfect. Okay. So I was gonna do an in the pot swirl, so let's go ahead and do that. I was thinking it might be getting a little too thick, but I don't think it is. I think it's fine. All right, so I'm gonna start with the light green. And when you do an in the pot swirl, there's lots of different ways you can do it. But one way is you just pour the colors back into your base in different spots. So I'm gonna do like 3 different spots. And hold your soap up high so that it dives deep down into it. Okay. So get all that out. And just repeat that for each color. You can do it at the same spot or you can like move around. I like to do it at the same spot. It just gives a really cool swirl pattern. So an in the pot swirl, it's pretty easy swirl to do, especially if you're like scaling up your production and stuff. And in the pot swirl is one that really scales nicely. I think our colors look good though. And then the red. Okay, so with an in the pot swirl, this pouring it into the mold is what swirls it. But a lot of soap makers like to give it one like turn with the spatula. That way it kind of swirls it a little bit beforehand. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. So you just want like literally just one swirl like that. Okay. Because you don't want to swirl it too much. If you swirl it too much, it's just going to get muddy. And then, like I said, pouring it into the mold is what is going to swirl it. Now, if you have if you have poured your, I can't talk today. If you have done up to this point and your soap is super fluid, like it's still like watery fluid, then I would actually let it sit, because if your soap is super fluid and you pour it into your mold, it's going to muddy too much. So if you let it sit at this point, just let it harden a little bit. And then when you pour it into your mold, it won't muddy as much. So hopefully that makes sense. But this is looking pretty good, and I'll show you kind of what it looks like. And I'm getting more of a Christmas vibe here than anything, but that's okay. So you can see I'm at like a medium trace. Hopefully you can, let me see. You can see that okay, I think. I'm at like a medium trace, so I know that when I pour this, it's not going to be like too muddied or anything. It's going to look good. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and pour it in. And you can move your container around, or you can just keep it in one place, whatever you want to do. Okay. Let me grab my spatula. And you know what I should have done? I should have kept a lot of white soap for the top, but that's okay. This is definitely Christmas vibes. I might have to change what I call this. Okay. All right, so now we can put our glitter on. So let me grab it. I'm trying to decide if I want to wait and do like a textured top and then put the glitter on. You know what? I think I am going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and call this done. I'm going to spray it so we don't get ash with alcohol. And then I'm going to wait like 10 minutes until it thickens up. And then I'm going to do some texture on top and then put the glitter on. So I will do a video of that so you guys can see. So basically that's it for now. I'm going to say goodbye, let you guys go. And then I will do a recording of the texture and the glitter on it. But that's it. I'll share the link with you guys for Good Glitter. thegoodglitter.com, and the coupon code that you can use to save 10%. And then of course I will show you the cuts tomorrow. All right, bye everyone.